Today we continue with our Friday afternoon class of Halachos of Brachot. Today class number 6. And we start with sound. Okay. Sound advice. Okay, so it says it's Sefer Shmiras Lashon. And we continue with sound advice. Okay, let me just find. Okay, so it says, I offer the following advice to anyone who seek to guard his tongue from speaking the forbidden. Train yourself to refrain from engaging in any conversation while in a Beis HaMedrash, study hall, or the Beis HaKnesses, synagogue. There are, the benefits of the practice are many. Okay, so they're going to list the benefits. So they say, in order to start speaking Lashon Hara or do anything, well, but we're talking about Lashon Hara, you have to start somewhere. So they say start somewhere. Where to start? Either from the places that speaking is forbidden to begin with. Doesn't matter, it's Lashon Hara or not. Right? And because they say the benefits are many. So let's see. Number one fulfills the great mitzvah of displaying respect and awesome for the awesome sanctity of these places. That's one mitzvah. Okay, so let me see. There is a note. It says the Torah states, "Observe my Shabbos, and revere my sanctuary. I'm HaShem." It says Vayikra 26:2. The status of the synagogue and the study hall as the miniature sanctuaries demands proper reverence. Regarding the synagogues, one may not conduct himself with levity in them. Right? One may not eat in them. One may not drink in them. One may not adorn himself in them. Nor may one stroll around in them. Nor may one enter them in the summer to escape the heat. Or the rainy season to escape rain. Okay, to escape rain, so it's from Megillah 28:8. So basically, we have to, when we're in a synagogue, we have to treat it as a miniature Beis HaMikdash. Included under levity is mundane conversation, such as matters pertaining to business. See Shulchan 151:1. Okay, so all of these things, all conversations basically not pertaining to the prayers or community matters, like, and are forbidden in a synagogue. Number 2, the Torah study is untainted by the disruption. Untainted by disruption. And his prayers are likewise uninterrupted and not lacking even one Amen or a Yehei Shmei Rabbah. Each priceless, it is irreplaceable treasure. Conversely, to discuss these responses is a serious sin. So first of all, first we said he displays the reverence, right? In this second, we say not second. Let me see. All right. So the next one, okay. So the next one we're saying is what that we are not allowed to do in synagogue. So you say, if you say quiet, don't talk to people, don't talk about people, right? So you're not going to miss Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah, which is as we say, it's irreplaceable. I mean, it's gone, it's gone. Okay, you can say it during the next prayer, but for this prayer it's gone. Number 3, the average Jewish male spends approximately 4 hours a day in the Beis HaKnesses for 3 daily prayers. Okay, it's a lot, but okay, that's what it says. These figures take into account the fact that most people remain in the synagogue studying and praying privately for a while the prayers has ended. The Chofetz Chaim wrote these works in 1800s. Okay, so basically that's most of the people, they have to understand they didn't have books at home. So if they want to study, they would go to synagogue to study. Okay, so he's saying 4 hours a day. Okay. he spends another 2 hours in a Beis Medrash studying Torah, a total of 6 hours. Okay. So from this we can see what level we are, or 1/4 of each 24-hour period. Thus, one who is scrupulous, avoid idle conversation in halls of divine sorrows, is assured to have spent at least 1/4 of his lifetime on this earth, engaged in Torah study and prayers, and having avoided all forms of forbidden speech. Okay, maybe we spend less time in a synagogue, but plus study hall, right? So that's actually adds up. Okay, so at least a big part of the life of a person's life, according to this calculation, it's 1/4 of the person's life. So we don't speak Lashon Hara if we try, of course. Number 4. Yeah, any questions?
No.
Okay, so okay, number 4. Having trained himself to avoid conversations for these 6 hours, one will find it relatively easy to refrain from speaking Lashon Hara the remainder of the day. So you start with the most important, as Hafiz Khan just explained, not to talk in a synagogue and not to talk in yeshiva, and then you already get blessing on this, and you can continue with other things. Okay. So today we're learning Halachot and Brachot. So let me see what chapter we're on. We're on chapter of Hefsekim. So Hefsek, we said, is what is it? Is interruption. So we said there are two kinds of interruptions. One is interruption between let's say between bracha and action, right? For example, in our case, we're talking about eating or drinking, and interruption in the middle of the blessings. Okay. So, and we said we concluded that in many times, I mean, we're going to see like practical applications. So many times, if he spoke for the purpose of the meal, for example, whatever it was, we gave example that he asked somebody to bring him salt because he wants to make hamotzi, right? So we said since it was for the purpose of the meal, we say even he spoke after he made the blessing for hamotzi, we say after the fact he does not have to repeat the blessing. But if it's not for the purpose of the meal, so he would need to repeat the blessing. So of course, if he did say something in the middle of the blessing, he would need to repeat it. Okay. So number 3, I'm on page 46. Communicated by using sounds. One should not communicate by uttering sounds in the middle of reciting bracha. For example, if one wishes to instruct family members to be quiet, he should not say sh, right, while in the middle of the reciting of the bracha. Okay.
Rabbi.
Not only speaking, but even sounds. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say I'm not allowed to say sh, but let's say I'm saying Brachot HaShem, then I get to shako and I say shako. Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's not the point. Yes, yeah. But here they say he specifically wanted everybody to be quiet. There maybe you stuttered a little bit, but it's different.
No, Rabbi, I'm saying specifically, Dafka, you're doing it because you want people to be quiet.
Okay. Yes. I apologize. I didn't get. Yeah. In this case, yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's even though it sounds like you a little prolonging the sh, but the purpose of this prolonging is to make everybody to be quiet. You're right. That's not allowed.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, note. Similarly, one may not gesture or engage in any form or not verbal communications while reciting bracha, as explained in chapter 2. So that's we already discussed it. So no snapping of the fingers and stuff like that. No pointing his eyes. Okay. Continue. Also, after making bracha, one should not communicate by uttering sound until some of the food is swallowed. Right? Until some of the food is swallowed. For example, if one wishes to convey that the food is tasty, he should not say right? Until some of the food is swallowed. Commentary. Similarly, one may not gesture. It is until after he has swallowed some of the food, as discussed below in section D. Right. So just because he bit into the food does not mean it's already eaten. So halachically, eating meaning when he swallows. Okay. Continue. BeEzrat. However, if one communicated by uttering sound during the recital of the bracha, or before swallowing some of the food, the bracha is valid. So basically, after the fact, he does not have to repeat, but it is forbidden. Okay. So okay, next section C. Hefsek pausing. That's a big one, right? Pausing before eating some of the food. After making bracha, one is required to immediately eat or drink some of the food without delay. So meaning like one of the examples that we gave was banana. So don't make a blessing on banana until you peel it and it's ready to eat. Right? Okay. A, BeEzrat. According to some poskim, if there is a delay of more than toch kedei dibur, right? The bracha is not valid. So some poskim say, what is it? Toch kedei dibur, which say Shalom Aleichem Rabbi. So Shalom Aleichem Rabbi, I don't know, it's like 1.5 2 seconds, right? But some say it's not here, but I learned that some say Shalom Aleichem Rabbi Amori. So I would say maybe it's 1 more second. You know what I'm saying? So let's say, according to this, maximum 3 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
Since you brought up the banana, I have a question like this, because we have in Avera a mitzvah not to eat anything detestable that other people wouldn't eat, right? That's disgusting, okay? So my question is like this. Let's say I made a bracha on a banana, okay? I made Pri Adama, but before I peeled it, am I allowed to, or even do I have to take a bite out of the banana with the peel, or no?
No, not with the peel. Okay, so in this case, in your case, yeah, I mean, not in your case, in your example, so I would say you can go by a more lenient opinion and wait until you peel the banana. But one more try, it's not proper.
Got it.
So okay. Because you're quiet. So being quiet is it's very different from talking. Of course, one more time, the proper way not to speak, and that's and even you remember last time we said about the water fountain. So of course it says that it's proper to take whatever the food that you're going to eat or drink into your right hand. Okay, so if you have a cup of water, a cup of juice, whatever, so you take it in your right hand and you're ready to drink, and then you say the blessing. But with a water fountain, it's a little different. I mean, everything is in there. So they say, so you can always prepare just to make sure there is water. Maybe it's out of water. How do you know? So, or the water is rusty. So, and you would be stopped from drinking, right? So you first check if there is a water and then you drink. Instead of making all of this interruption. Okay, so first opinion, as we just said, some poskim say no more than 1.5 seconds, let's say up to 3 seconds, right? Up to. Other poskim rule, however, that BeEzrat, so we're talking about only the BeEzrat after the fact. The bracha is valid. Therefore, if delay occurred, since making the new bracha is questionable, the poskim said that the second bracha should not be made. Come to see chapter 16, section B, for what to do in cases where validity of bracha is in doubt.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Yeah. So in this case, in this case, for example, a lot of times BeEzrat either means that BeEzrat some poskim say yes, so you don't make it again, or BeEzrat everybody agrees this is allowed. So over here.
No. Okay. BeEzrat means that there is some poskim say that after the fact, after he made a mistake. So since some opposite, since some poskim allow to wait, like let's say, I don't know, 10 seconds, let's say, right? Let's say. So and it's others say it's not. So it's questionable situation. So in order not to transgress the Torah prohibition, carrying HaShem name in vain, so they say don't make a bracha. But we said before, that's why they continue sending us, referring us to chapter 16. We say, if you're not sure, right? So take a tiny bite, tiny, right? So because not, for this blessing not to be in vain, and then find something else for which with similar bracha, right? Make bracha that it was not covered by your original one or your banana on carrots, right? So go take from refrigerator piece of carrot, right? Say blessing of this carrot, and keep in mind that you should cover your banana. Understand?
Understood.
So because otherwise it's a, you see, it's a like catch-22. Maybe you should, maybe it was counted, maybe not counted, but in this case it's according to all opinion that's solution to the issue. Got it?
Understood. But what should I do? Let's say I make a shackle on milk or something in a cafeteria, right, for lunch. Then, and because I make a shackle on it, my shackle applies to everything else because the kavanah one in the cafeteria right away is that shackle covers everything, even when you don't have kavanah, no?
Okay, yes. I mean, some things are not covered by shackle, yeah.
But understood. But in this case, let's say I made it on milk. What do I do now?
That's the problem. Yes, that's the problem. So if every I don't know, like for example, as we said before, the dessert is not counted unless you had specific intention to cover it.
Understood.
What I mean, like piece of candy. Something.
But in this case, I can still get bread and make hamotzi and everything's fine, right?
One second. So if you have step back. So if you said shechakol on milk, right? So why going to bread now? Though? I understand.
But I'm saying
shechakol that does not count. It does not cover bread.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, all right. Right, so okay, so continue. B, applications. Since there is a requirement to eat immediately after making a bracha, one should make all necessary preparation before making a bracha, in order that the food may be eaten without delay. Therefore, number one, if the bracha is made on a packaged food, right, the package should be opened before a recital of bracha. So you have to, like I would say, like these packs, like sealed bags of chips or whatever, some cookies or whatever you take. Sometimes they open very easily, but sometimes it's a struggle. It's not so easy to open with your hands. You know, some they put extra glue. I don't know whatever they did, but it's not such an easy task to open. Even sometimes there is a thing like on a side that you have to pull, and sometimes it's ripped in the wrong place, right? And now you have to struggle and try to open. So just because you think that it's easy to open, don't count on that. Understand? So open all of the food packages, whatever you need, ice cream, whatever you eat. So open before making bracha. Number two, the food. If the food requires washing, it should be done before starting the bracha. So if you need to wash, of course, you make sure that it is clean, that is washed. So if you're very specific, so like I don't know, maybe you wash second time. If it was a refrigerator, you wash before. then you change your mind. Okay, we'll wash second night. Wash as many times as you want, but just a side point. So if so, we don't eat moist food, something that is washed, right? You have to wash your hands before eating. For example, apple, if it's moist, so you have to wipe the apple like very dry, or you have to wash your hands basically. You have to wash your hands like before bread, but you don't say blessing. That's a side point. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Rabbi, let's say I have, okay, this isn't the best example, but let's say I have a burger, okay, and I eat it with my hands, let's say, okay? Now, the burger is without bread. The burger is greasy, so does that count as moist or no? Same with French fries or whatever.
Okay. So moist. So your actual question about all of the liquids that transfer this impurity. So I'm going to tell you the liquids. So first liquids is understandable, it's water, right? Second is a dew, right? Third one is I think blood. Fourth one is the milk. Fifth is a honey. Sixth one is olive oil. And what is the seventh one? Something is missing. Olive oil. I'm missing one, but I don't remember now. So one more time. It's water, dew, honey, milk, blood, olive oil, and okay, I don't know. There is one more. Basically, there is seven of these liquids. Okay, so other things are not considered to be liquids. So even juice, apple juice is not liquid.
Understood. Did you name olive oil or no?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, understood.
But still, one is missing. Some I cannot remember it now. Okay, so continue. But you got the idea. At least those are the most popular. But there is one more. Okay. So now number 3. If the food, so basically, if you want like you have an apple and you want to dip it in dry apple, right? It was dry, so you want to dip it in a honey, eat like that. So you would need to wash your hands, even though your hands do not touch honey, and you put it directly into your mouth. There's still a problem. Okay, so unless you're planning to eat whatever you plan to eat with utensils, with a fork and knife, and you don't have intention to touch this food, so then of course you're not required to wash hands. So number 3, the food requires inspection for insects prior to eating, right? For example, lettuce, parsley, cabbage, spinach, etc.
Rabbi.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
One thing, since we started talking about all this stuff and bugs, I want to ask you, let's say we know for sure and some not, right? There's a bug, okay? But the thing is, I make a bracha and I put it in my mouth. Does it count as a bracha in vain and it's not kosher or no? Because first I had the nut, and then later on in the middle of the nut, there's a bug.
No, the bracha is good. Bracha is good. There is no problem with it. But eating of the bug, that's the issue.
Understood.
Those are like two separate things. Okay. So one more time, just to remind ourselves, so we have to check all of the lettuce, parsley, cabbage, all of the spinach, all of these things, and there are bugs, and there are many videos on basically online. They show you how to check. So how to wash before you check, you need to wash, right? Because if you don't wash, for sure there is an infestation, almost for sure. Okay. Number 4. If the food to be eaten is extremely hot, at least small amount should be allowed to cool off, so that it can be eaten immediately after the bracha is made. When eating hot food, one should not make the bracha and then blow on it, rather blow first. So that's very practical and very interesting point. So if you have this hot tea, hot coffee, or hot soup, right? So you basically you're not ready to eat to drink it, right? So because it's so hot. So what you do, you make sure that you touch with your lips. It's not considered to be eaten. You just check the temperature. Can you eat it, or you need to blow on it like for a few more seconds, and then when you're ready, you can make the blessing. Number 5, if food requires shelling, it should be done prior to making bracha. So, okay, even for nuts or whatever you want to eat these nuts, just make sure that it is ready. As David just told us, if what is a worm, right? So before you're ready to eat, make sure that there are no worms. Don't look at it for them after event. No.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Let's say I have a salad and I put too much lemon juice in it and it's too sour. In that case, would I have to make a bracha? Because doesn't that mean I have to check the salad if I put too much of something before I put it in my mouth, or no?
Even for tasting, right? And unless you're planning to spit it out, you have to say blessed.
Understood. Got it.
But this blessing. So basically, right? So if you making something, right, and you want to taste, and they want to see, maybe you need more of this, less of this, or whatever. So you say one blessing, and eat a little piece, and this actually covers the whole thing. I mean, it depends when you're planning to eat. You understand? For example, you made a salad, and now you have to do some things, and you're going to eat only 15 minutes later, so you would need to require different blessing.
Got it. So I want to ask you one question. It applies somewhat to this in brachos, but let's say I make a matzi, because I remember you telling me that if you eat less than a kazayas, you have to make brachos for other food as well.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So my question is like this. So now there are two ways that I understood this. So either do I have to have a kazayas right away, or do I have to have, let's say I have a small piece of bread, right? Then I have strawberries in the middle, then I have the rest of my kazayas. Does that count as a whole meal, or no?
What's that? So you made the blessing on Hamon, and you ate kazayas right away, or no?
So I'll rephrase it once again. Let's say I have less than a kazayas, right? But then have strawberries. Do I have to make a bracha on these strawberries, or no? Or do I?
Yes, yeah. 100%.
Wait, so I'll rephrase my question. Let's say after the strawberries, I finish a kazayas.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
so, so
I
starting,
see where you're going. I mean, okay, I see where you're going. No, so okay, so the thing is, what is our issue, right? At hand. So we say I just want to explain your question so other people also understand. So David is asking questions. So we had this discussion before. We had this discussion before, and we said if someone want to eat less than kazayas of bread, of course he goes wash his hand. He does not say blessing. Okay, does not say blessing, and but he say hamotzi. We always say hamotzi. Actually, not just so we know, not everybody require even washing of the hands. Just so you know, under kazayas, not everybody require. Some of kazayas emon they do require. So kazayas is 1 ounce, like 28 grams. Okay. So the thing is, our rabbis say if it's kazayas, right? It's considered to be meal. Well, what is kazayas? It's the smallest piece of food, in this case bread, that from which amount of bread, from which a person gets satiated, like some. Of course, he's going to be hungry, I don't know, 20 minutes later, 15 minutes later, but but still some satiation he can get from kazayas when he eats it right away. So right away meaning in 2-3 minutes. Okay, the faster the better. But if it's less than kazayas, it's for sure not meal. Of course, you have to make the separate blessing on the bread because it's a staple food, very important food, choshev. Okay, that's not what we're discussing here. But since it is not meal, it's not a meal. It's not our bread is strawberry. So strawberry is not they're not covered by bread because it's not a meal. You eat everything separately. So I have to make a blessing on strawberry or whatever you eat.
I understood. But my question more so was, I guess the strawberry was a bad example. But at what point do we say, let's say I have bread, at what point do we say that I have to make a bracha on other foods?
If you have less than kazayas.
Exactly, but when less than a kazayas? At the very, does it only count as a meal? Does everything else count as a meal? I'll give you 2 scenarios. Does everything else...
One second. So kazayas must be eaten in the most lenient opinion under 9 minutes. So if you stretch more than 9 minutes, so our rabbis say 2-3 minutes. Okay, so that's the most proper opinion to follow. But if it's more than 9 minutes, those pieces are not connected basically. I mean, maybe after 9 minutes, if you eat another big piece and it's going to be kazayas, it's a different story.
Correct. I'm not disagreeing with you over there. I'm saying like this. Let's say I have less than a kazayas, then I have a piece of meat. Okay, right? With all within 9 minutes so far. Okay, now, but then afterwards, I have the rest of the kazayas within 9 minutes. Okay, so all of it was within 9 minutes. My question is like this: the steak, does it count as a part of the suda, even though I didn't have a kazayas before eating the steak? You see?
Mm-hmm. But after the steak, you ate more than kazayas, right?
Yeah. All in all, I ate more than a kazayas. Yes.
No, not all. No, that's not what I'm asking. You ate steak. You ate half a kazayas before steak. You ate steak.
Yes.
After steak, did you eat the kazayas? Yes or no?
No, I ate half a kazayas.
Okay, so it's not count. It's not connected. If it's more than between one half of the kazayas and another was more than 9 minutes, they're not connected.
No, I'm saying less than 9 minutes. I'm saying all of it was within 9 minutes.
Okay, then they're connected.
Okay, that's all. Okay.
So yeah, so this 9 minutes is, as we said, is the most lenient opinion. So it must be eaten. This kazayas, even if it's broken in 2 parts or whatever, it should be eaten in under the 9 minutes. Okay, got it. Continue.
Yes.
Okay, so where are we? Okay, so we said if food requires shelling, so he has to do it before. Next one, number 2. Pausing during recital of Brachot. One should not pause in the middle of recital Brachot. BeEzrat. If one did pause in the middle of reciting Brachot, the Brachot is valid. So pausing meaning that he kept quiet. How long? We're going to see later on. Okay, continue. D. Hafsik, gesturing, motioning, snapping finger. Okay, 1 second. Let me admit him. Okay, so continue. So one to have suggestion, motioning, snapping fingers, etc. Number 1, gesturing before eating some of the food. After making a bracha, one may not gesture, motion, snap his finger, or engage in similar form of non-verbal communication with other people until after he has swallowed some of the food. For example, one made bracha and is about to eat. Suddenly, his wife rushed into the kitchen, looking for the car keys. He snaps his finger to get her attention, to point at the drawer where the keys may be found. Right? It was incorrect to do either of these actions. BeEzrat, if one did gesture, etc., most poskim Aruch, the bracha is valid. So basically, even after you made the bracha, so if you quiet, there is no problem. Just one second. No, sorry. After making bracha, one may not. Okay, so the situation after making bracha. So of course, talking we said not, but gesturing they say also not allowed. But after the fact, he does not have to repeat. Number 2, gesturing during the recital of bracha. One may not gesture, etc., while reciting bracha. Okay, so we already said that. So, but one more time after the fact, I think we said this it is allowed. So let me just quickly check chapter 2d1. 1 second, just to make sure. I think chapter 2d1. Check this chapter 2d1. BeEzrat one said bracha while walking, learning, and gesturing, perform bracha is valid. So I just wanted to make sure. So in all of the cases, all of gesturing, I mean, to begin with, they're not allowed, but after the fact, don't repeat the bracha. Okay, continue. E, hefsek, changing locations. That's okay. When a person makes a bracha in one location, he must take first bite of food in that location. If he takes the first bite in a different location, the bracha is not valid. Okay, that's straightforward. Okay, so you have to eat in the same location where you make bracha. For example, if one made bracha while inside of the house and walk outside of the house to eat food, the bracha is invalid. Maybe they have a picnic, whatever they have, like outside, I don't know, his backyard, whatever they do, right? So it would not be allowed, right? So I mean, that's for sure. We're going from inside of the house, outside of the house. It's 2 different locations. Regarding which change of location will invalidate bracha. For example, changing from one building to another. And which change will not invalidate bracha. For example, change from one side of the room to another. See chapter 9. So we're going to get to all the locations. Okay, so Baruch Hashem, we finished chapter 3. So we have time. Guys, we have time. Should we continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So continue. So that's famous questions and a very important principle of Ikar and Tofel. That's our subject. So Ikar is the primary one, and Tofel is I think like secondary. And not saying subordinate. That's the word. Okay, so in introduction, one of the most significant and relevant rules in Hilchas Brachos is a principle of Ikar and Tofel. The Mishna in Brachos 44a states, the rule is whenever there is an Ikar, primary food, and with it a Tofel, subordinate food, make bracha on Ikar and exempt the Tofel. So basically one comes with another. So you say based on a primary food, and it includes secondary, even if they have different brachas. Not even, I don't know why I say even, forget about it. Yeah, in any case. With this statement, the Mishnah introduces the concept that when one food item is subordinate to another, whether it's eaten in a mixture, a combination, or individually, the bracha on the Ikar, primary, exempt the Tofel, subordinate. Okay, so if it is a mixture or it's not mixed, does not make any difference. But of course, we're going to learn like different scenarios. Continue. When various food items are combined, we must determine the proper bracha. For example, potatoes require Borepliko Adama, and meat requires Shechako. Determine the correct bracha or brachas for goulash, potato and meat stew, right, is a bit more difficult. So minced goulash, I don't know if you know, it's like I would say it's a bigger, like pieces of potato. It's Hungarian food, right? Bigger pieces of potato and bigger piece of meat. It's not like small pieces. I don't think they call goulash. Okay. These two brachas are required. I'm sorry, no, not. Are two brachas are required? Or do we view the goulash as a single entity, which requires only one bracha? If goulash is to be viewed as a new entity, does it make the identity of bracha on the meat or the potatoes? So it's a good question. So you have this stew, right, with meat and potatoes. So you have two different blessings. So should I see them as like two separate kinds of food, and I have to say two separate blessings, or I see it as a new dish, like it is a mixture, and I say one blessing. Okay. In this chapter, examine three basic categories of food combinations and their relations to Ikar and Tofel. Section A, absolute Tofel, right? That means subordinate. Pertains to the cases where Tofel is not being eaten for its own accord at all. For example, it is being eaten solely. For example, it is being eaten solely to offset the sharp of or acrid taste or taste in Ikar. So we're going to see something like you would not eat it like by itself, but only to offset the sharp taste. Okay, we'll see. Section B, enhancers. Perhaps pertains to the cases where one food is eaten to enhance another food. For example, blintzes and sour cream. So sour cream, it's like otherwise you're not going to eat this sour cream, but with blintzes you would eat it. Section C, single entity mixtures. Pertain to the food mixed, cooked, baked, or blended together. For example, stews, salad, and salads. Okay. In this section, we define what type of the mixture are considered to be single entity mixture, required only one bracha. So if one more time, so just to clarify, if it's one single entity mixture, we say only one blessing, not two. So if we're not sure if it's two entities, they're not mixed, so you might need multiple blessings. After determining that the principal food mixture is considered a single entity, we must then determine which ingredients or component of the mixture is considered to be Ikar. So Ikar is, as we say, it's primary. But I'm not sure. I think Ikar is they translate as primary, which is explained in section B. Okay, so now we have mixture. Okay, you say, okay, there is mixture. So now we have to see if it's which one of the mixture you say blessing. In section E deals with foods which, although eaten in a combination with other foods, are not considered a single entity. For example, the ice cream sandwich, tuna on crackers. Okay, so they're not mixed. Tuna and crackers are not mixed, but what blessing do we make? Okay. In section F, the general rules of Ikar and Tofel are discussed. For example, if one finishes eating the Ikar and has some of the Tofel left over, he is not required to make bracha on leftover Tofel before he eats it. He's not required to make the leftover Tofel before he eats it. So basically, if an example of what we just said, I think a good example would be if you ate cereal with milk, and you finish with the cereal and only milk left. So milk was a secondary to the cereal, right? Okay. In section G, some additional application of Ikar and Tofel, for example, breakfast cereals, knishes, various types of cholent are discussed. Okay. So let's start. So it was like in introduction, he gave us like a roadmap what we're going to learn in this chapter. A, absolute tofu. Number one definition. If one eats two foods, food A and food B, and food B is eaten only to enhance, because he ate food A, okay, then food B is considered absolute tofu and does not require its own bracha. Okay, for example, so always good to see examples. If one eats herring A, and then eats a slice of vegetable or an olive B, to offset the taste of the herring, since he is not eating the vegetable to enjoy the flavor, and were it not for the herring, he would not have eaten the vegetable at all. The vegetable is considered tofu, subordinate to the herring, and is covered by the shechakol made on herring. So let's try to understand this example. So let's say, I don't know what's wrong with the herring. Let's say it's over salty, I don't know. I don't know, well, whatever he thinks it's wrong with him. Maybe it's sharp, I'm not sure, maybe it's spicy, I have no idea. So he ate this piece of herring, and now it's maybe it's too much taste, the taste is too strong, whatever, fish taste, whatever, I don't know. So he takes a piece of carrot, piece of vegetable, whatever. So the only reason he takes this piece of vegetable because to offset the taste of the herring. So otherwise he would not eat this piece of vegetable. Understand? So it's not for enjoyment. He usually does not eat it and at least not during the meal. So this piece of carrot or whatever he took, so it's going to be this absolute tofu. Got it? So the only reason he eats the piece of carrot is because of the herring. So I mean, so in this case, he does not say separate blessing on herring. But how often does it happen? I'm not sure. So but let's continue reading. Note: the tofu is not covered unless it was on a table in front of him, and the time he made the bracha, or he had specific intent to eat it. This requirement to have the tofu in mind when making bracha on an ikar is discussed fully in section F1. So it's in the very end. So everything that we say now it cannot contradict the general principles. So general principle is, as we learned in was it chapter 1 or chapter 2? I don't remember. So, but we said that if somebody in front of on a table, in front of you on the table, wherever you are, right? So after the fact, so if you say the blessing on wherever you have a bowl of fruits, and you said blessing on one fruit of grapes, and you took grapes, and then you decided, no, I want to eat peach also, from even though it was not your intention, but since it was like in front of you, so it means that you're allowed to eat it without blessing because it's in front of it. So here they say exactly the same principle apply with this tofu, meaning with this subordinate food. It should be in front of you when you are making a blessing. So even though it has different blessing, right? Even though it has different blessing, you will say shechakol on this herring, and you say barat dama on this piece of carrot, right? It has different blessing on one hand, but on the other hand, since it was in front of you, or you had in mind to eat it maybe later on, right, during the meal. So in this case, you don't say this blessing on a piece of carrot. But in my mind, okay, I mean, it's very difficult. I cannot imagine this situation basically. I don't know, unless it's not herring, maybe something like very, very spicy. Okay. So continue. Other example of absolute tofu. Number one, after drinking some whiskey, A, one have ate some of the chickpeas. B, in order to counteract the sharp taste. Were it not for the whiskey, he would not have eaten the chickpeas at all. Okay. Since the chickpeas were not eaten for enjoyment, and were it not for the whiskey, he would not be eating them at all. They are considered as absolute tofu. The shechako made on whiskey included the chickpeas, which were subordinate to it. Okay. So let's try to understand this example. So this guy drank whiskey. Now it's like very strong and stuff like that. So he took few of chickpeas. But my question is, right? So why wouldn't he enjoy this chickpeas? What is the problem? So basically, if he would enjoy it, if he would eat it, like I'd like to eat this after this. Right? Some people like eat salty things, and after that, like very sweet, and then salty, and then alternate, basically, right? So in his mind, there is this sequence. I like to drink. The guy liked to drink whiskey, and then he liked to eat something after that. So it does not mean that he does not enjoy the chickpeas or whatever he eats after this. He took after that drink. So if he enjoyed, so basically my point is he would need to say new blessing. If not, it's only to offset the taste of the whiskey. So he did not to say the blessing on a chickpeas. Okay. I hope it is clear. If not, please let me know. But as I said, in my mind, like it's very like the way I see it's very rare occasion when this situation arises. But maybe I'm wrong. Number two, in order to stimulate the appetite, one finds it helpful to eat some pickles or olives with his meat. But it's not for the fact that the condiments stimulate his appetite. He would not eat them at all at the meal, since he's eating the pickles and olives, B, right? Solely to able to eat meat, A. And were it not for the meat, he would not eat them at all. They are considered absolutely tofu. The shecha called bracha made for the meat will cover the pickles and olives well. Okay, so as well. So let's.
Hi, Robert. Sorry, I keep disconnecting.
No problem. So, we like when you connect back. That's okay. According to most poskim, if the pickles or olives are eaten first, barepricha damal, barepricha eitz would be required. According to all views, if the meat is eaten first, shechakol made on the meat will cover them. Okay, so let's try to understand this example. So he has his steak, and somehow he doesn't have appetite. So my suggestion to this guy would be that just stop eating. Like you're wasting so much money. Like go do whatever you do, and then when you're hungry, come back. So, but this guy wants to eat. I don't know, whatever, no matter what. So he wants to eat this spicy food, this olives or these pickles. Right. So, by the way, if you want to eat pickles, you also have to wash your hands, unless it's during the meal. So, I mean, if you're going to eat pickles with your hands, because it's water, you have to wash your hands. Okay, that's what we said before. All right. It's one of the moist food, basically. So here, if he only eats these olives or pickles in order to stimulate his appetite. So they are covered by meat, but I would say it would be straightforward. So if he thinks that he would need these pickles or he likes them, just make the blessing on the pickle and olive before eating meat, and then you're covered basically. Why would you rely on something that is questionable, right? That's what we're saying. Okay, so this would be according. If you started with pickle or olive, it's going to be good according to all of the opinions. But if he wants to eat, if he started with meat and then say I cannot finish this meat. I don't have appetite until I eat some pickles. So it's different stories. So they say then in this case the pickles are secondary. But in my understanding, he does not he's not enjoying the pickles. That's the thing. I'm not sure how is it possible, but that's what it is. Okay. So basically, I would say, like my personal approach, don't rely on this secondary food, and at least in this specific example, right? That it's absolute tofu. Just eat the secondary food first, and then not secondary, but the secondary and make blessing on the primary food, and basically recover. Okay, number 2. I'm checking time. Okay. Number 2, not even together with ikar. An absolute tofu is covered by bracha on ikar, even if if one first eats ikar and then eats the tofu afterwards. So one more time, the absolute tofu is covered by bracha of the ikar, even if one first eats ikar and then eats tofu afterwards. In other types of ikar and tofu, if the tofu is eaten separately, a separate bracha is required. CB2. I'm not sure what it means. Well, I apologize. I need to read one more time. An absolute tofu is covered by bracha on the ikar, even if one first eats the ikar. I'm not sure where it was. I mean, that's straightforward. He eats this steak, right, and then he eats this, and he, as we said, and then he feels that he needs these pickles for appetite. So these pickles are covered. I'm not sure was it. Okay, and then he eats tofu afterwards. Okay, so I mean, they said there is our example. There is no problem. So this tofu is subordinate food is covered. In other cases, the ikar and the tofu, or if ikar and tofu, if tofu is eaten separately, the separate bracha is required, as we said. So if he wants to eat these pickles before the steak, so it would be covered. Okay, so we can stop here. So any questions, please go ahead. It's a long chapter. Yeah, go ahead. Any questions? Okay, if not, so we stop here and until Sunday, BeEzrat HaShem then.
Shalom v'chai everybody. Very happy to announce a major event coming up in Eretz Yisrael. This event is going to be unlike any other we've done as an organization. Last year we had a group of young guys that completed the entire Shas, Bavli, and the Mishnayot in a single year. This year we're going to have the entire foundation of the oral Torah completed in a single night. Our own dear Ephraim and other Talmudim of the organization. In a single night we'll have the completion of the Shas Bavli, Shas Mishnayot, the Zohar Kadosh, Zohar Chadash, Tikkunei Zohar, and the Shulchan Aruch. Years and years of toil, lots of effort is coming to fruition, and in a single night, all of it will be completed to sanctify Kadosh Baruch Hu's name. This is going to be a night where many Rabbanim, many Tzaddikim will be joining us at this event. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of people at the event in Eretz Yisrael, including the Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, of course, our own very dear Rabbi Ephraim Kachlon. I myself will also be joining, coming to Eretz Yisrael for the first time in many years to join this monumental event, this monumental Kiddush Hashem, in order to sanctify Kadosh Baruch Hu's name, to show him how much we love his Torah, how dedicated we are to his Torah, and to be able to, BeEzrat Hashem, give chizuk to Am Yisrael in another way.
בעזרת השם, ארגון בעזרת השם מתעתד לעשות כנס גדול, שם יהיה סיום על עיקרי התורה שבעל פה, שזה סיום כל התלמוד בבלי, סיום כל השישה סדרי משנה, סיום כל הזוהר הקדוש ותיקוני הזוהר, וסיום כל השולחן ערוך. בדרך כלל לוקח זמן כדי לסיים את כל הספרים הללו, 30 שנה, 40 שנה, ובסייעתא דשמיא הארגון בעזרת השם עושה את הכנס לכל כלל ישראל. כולם מוזמנים.
We're looking forward for this event. We're also looking forward to seeing some of you that are going to be joining us. There are going to be some sponsorship opportunities for anyone that wants to be able to be a part of it. And of course, there'll be a opportunity for any of you that want to join us, one way or the other. Last but not least, there will also be a raffle that we'll be announcing very soon for anyone that wants to join the raffle and also be able to do Kiruv at the same time. The winner of the raffle will win a flight ticket to Eretz Yisrael and be able to join us at the event. So please look out for more news. Looking forward to seeing you at this event. And BeEzrat Hashem, Naaseh v'Natzliach.